Hey, thanks for chatting to me again.
Yeah, so here we go.
Here we go again. I chatted to you a little while ago about the new Udo album, but we've got a Dirk Schneider tour happening here. So take
Yes.
us back. When did this Dirk Schneider thing happen initially, and how did
Uh,
it come about? Were you contacted by a promoter and said, "Look, we want you to do Accept gigs"?
yeah,
What happened?
yeah. It's in a way it's sometimes funny, you know. I mean, we did nearly 3 years. It was we did Dirkschneider and a lot of people was asking, oh, why you're not playing or just making the tour just with accept songs, you know. And then in, I don't know, 2015, 16, we said, okay, maybe we do a couple of shows, you know, special event, blah, blah, blah. So, and then we end up with 300 shows with Dirk Schneider. And yeah, I mean, it was a really successful tour. I mean, I didn't expect this. And so when we came in contact now with Australian promoters, so they was asking, oh, maybe is that possible, you know, with the original voice that we that Udo can do Dirk Schneider. It's always like a little bit like this, you know. I mean, I do a UDO now for over 30 years. I have, I don't know,
Yeah,
17 or 18 albums out.
yeah,
And so, but they said, yeah, the people asking, they want to hear the original voice of Accept and blah, 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 blah. So, and in the end, I said, okay, why not? I mean, let's do it. I mean, for me, it was also um, an opportunity to come to Australia, you know.
yeah,
So, and I mean, hopefully we can open up a market in Australia, you know. So for me, it's the first time ever to come
mm,
to Australia, you know. It was never happened. So we took this chance and we said, okay, come on, we come then at Dirkschneider, play only accept songs. I mean, I think the people will enjoy this. And also on the other hand, you know, I have an old bandmate of with me, Peter Bartlett on bass,
mm.
and so this is in a way 50% of accept, you know, and and yeah. So what I mean, really looking forward, and then maybe if everything works, the next time we make a mix up of accept songs and UDO, you know. So
Yeah.
that's what we are sometimes doing also in Europe, you know. A lot of people asking. Um, Maybe you can play some accept songs, you know. I mean, when I after the 3 years what I did with Dirkschneider, maybe I was a little bit too quick. I mean, I said, okay, never ever I play any accept songs. But then the people say, oh, you cannot do this, you know, blah blah blah. So I mean, I can live with that. In a way, it's always like you know, that give the people what they want, and that's the thing, you know. I mean, we are entertaining people, you know, and then it's good to see that they maybe have a smile on the face, you know, and say yes, that was a great show. That's it.
Yeah. The thing is, you'd have a lot of people my age in the crowd, and hearing the Accept songs would get all these people reliving their youth because that's what we're all doing or trying to.
Yes. Yeah.
Trying to anyway. How did Peter come on board? Because he wasn't
Oh,
always on board with this. How did he come? How did it come about that Peter came on board?
that was like our original bass player Thielen. He has a serious health problem, and then he was when we had the show in Munich in Germany on a UDO tour, he was falling over and it was nearly a heart attack. I mean, really serious.
Yeah,
But he never told us something about this, you know. That was also not so funny, let's say in this way. So, and then we said, okay, what can we do? We stop the tour? No. So then I said, okay, I never had any problems with Peter. I mean, I was with Peter anyway in contact when we did this album with the German army forces, when we did Dirkstetter and the Old Gang, you know. I mean, I was
yeah,
always in contact with Peter. So we called him and I said, Peter, I have a serious problem.
yeah,
I need a bass player for the rest of the tour. And then he said, okay, I need one day and then I can tell you yes or no. And then he said, okay, I can do that. And so then he came on board. He did the whole European tour with us, also South America. And yeah, then I don't want to go too deep with the original bass player Thielen, you know. And then some reason I don't know what was going on in his head. And then one day he said, I'm quit UDO. I don't want to play it anymore.
Yeah.
So, and then, yeah, then we said, okay, what can we do? Then we are asking Peter, can you help us to, yeah, do the rest of the tour, also maybe the festivals and whatever's coming up in 2023, you know? So, and yeah, so then Peter said, yeah, no problem. And then one day, it looks like that Peter will be now a constantly bass player in UDO. It is funny. And I'm really happy. We had so much fun on tour, you know. It was like that he was always in UDO, you know, as a bass player.
Yeah.
And he's for me, one of the greatest bass player in heavy metal, you know, definitely on the top. He's a really good singer, really good songwriter. I know that from my old days with Accept, you know. And yeah, what can I say? That will be great if he will be a constantly bass player in UDO. So,
Yeah.
what can I say?
Look, I've seen a lot of bands in my time, and there's probably no one who isn't the main singer that gets the crowd singing more than Peter.
Yeah, definitely. So, and that's definitely. If he really said yes, I want to be a constantly bass player in UDO. Definitely, I said definitely. I don't say no.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's an elephant in the room here in Adelaide. There was a show scheduled, a show was given, and a show was taken away. What was the story there?
Well, I don't know. They was told out there they was put in another show, and then they came up. Yeah, there's too much expensive and blah blah blah. In a way, I'm lucky that we can do Sydney and Melbourne, and yeah, we will see what's coming up, and then hopefully we can open up the market in Australia for us. You know.
How's your voice? How's your voice holding up these days?
Oh, my voice is always working. I think I'm really lucky. You know,
Yeah.
I never had any problems. Of course, when you have a cold and it's a little bit like, but I can handle that. You know, all over the years, I never was cancel a concert about that had some problems with my voice. You know, and I think I'm really, really lucky.
Going back into Accept, putting out that music all those years ago, what are your main memories of those albums from back in the day, the early 80s? Did you feel like you were struggling to break through, and then when it broke through, it was a relief? What was the feeling from the inside? You know, Breaker, Restless and Wild. What was the feeling within the band?
Yeah, definitely. Let's say the whole thing started with the breakthrough was definitely with Breaker in Europe. When we did the tour together with Judas Priest, you know, that was open up completely Europe for us. And Restless and Wild was also an album, you know, that was already talking about, you have to come to America, you know. But the management said, no, that's too early, we wait one more album. And then Bolts came out. And that was exploding in America, you know, overnight 120 radio stations and all that stuff. So here we go. And then, yeah, I was nearly living in America for 3 years, you know. It was a huge success, really huge success also in Europe, you know. So Metal Heart and Russian Roulette, that was like, but then, I don't know, for some reason, they said, no, we want to be more commercial, you know, for the American market. In a way, sorry, if you sell 2 million albums in America with Balls to the Wall, what kind of music you want to do to get more, you know? That was a crazy situation, you know. I was creating Accept, and then they throw me out of my own band. And yeah, it's a story, it's history. It was like yeah, I start directly with UDO. and I had, yeah, very quick, really success with UDO, you know. I was on tour with Guns N' Roses, Rita Ford in America. I mean, I was in Europe on together with Ozzy Osbourne with UDO, you know. For me, it was like, oh, okay, thank you very much. Have fun, guys. And yeah, and that the funny thing was for me, they came out with the Eat the Heat album. I mean, in a way, really good album, good songs on there, but it was not accepted anymore, you know. And then
No, no.
they start an American tour. After 6 weeks, they split up. That was so. And then I was, for me, it was like, okay. So that was the commercial way you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yes. So that's the story, you know. I mean, yeah, I mean, let's say in history, I have good memories and also bad memories with it, you know. But anyway, I mean, it's always like I'm a guy. I always said, don't look back, look forward, you know, keep going. And that's what I do.
Yeah. Playing those old Accept songs, which is your favorite to play?
That's a good question.
While you think about that, what is the fan favorite? What is one song you're always going to have to play when you play an Accept set? What is Accept Smoke on the Water?
Yeah, that's definitely Ball to the Wall. I mean, without this song, you know, you cannot play an Accept set, you know, this is not possible. The next one is definitely Metal Heart. I like that song very much. Princess of the Dawn, Fast as a Shark, of course, all that stuff. Breaker, Son of a Bitch, Restless and Wild. I mean, all these songs, you know, and that's what we're doing now in Australia.
Yeah. You're doing from the very first album up until which time period are we talking about?
I mean, definitely we do nothing from the first album.
Right.
We definitely do I'm a Rebel from the I'm a Rebel album. That will be one. Breaker, I mean, Son of a Bitch, stuff like that. Starlight will be in.
Oh,
And then Restless and Wild, of course, Princess, Restless and Wild. And then, of course, Balls, London Leather Boys, from Metal Heart up to the limit. Or I don't have to set this completely in my head. Russian Roulette, maybe one or two songs. So that means it's in a way a good mix-up. It's like a jukebox, you know, hit parade.
Oh, I tell you, when my wife and I were on holidays in 2018, the last night before we left the USA, we were at a club in San Francisco called Slim's.
Yeah.
And Fozzy was playing, and I went to the toilet, and hanging above the urinal is the upcoming bands. And DIRKSCHNEIDER was there like literally days later, but we left the country the next morning.
So
close. So close.
What can I say? Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean that for me it's good, you know. In on one hand, I can say, okay, I can do UDO on one side, and if the people really want it, then I can do DIRKSCHNEIDER, you know. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, you know. I mean, what I said before, give the people what they want, you know. If they ask me, but it's the same but coming up now in Europe on the festivals, you know. Some festivals you do under UDO.
Yeah.
Some festivals you do under DIRKSCHNEIDER, you know. It's like the promoter, please, can you do that? So we said, yeah, no problem. We can do anything. What I said, I'm really looking forward to come to Australia, and hopefully a lot of people show up, and definitely there will be a great show. And then we will see what's coming up in the future with Australia. I'm really looking forward to this, you know, and yeah, I'm really excited, you know, and not about the flight from Germany to Australia. It's a different story, but anyway, I mean, you can sleep on a plane. I mean, I traveled so much, you know, it's you get used to that.
How do you go living out of a suitcase? You said you get used to it. How used to it do you get? Do you fully unpack living out of a suitcase, going from city to city. It's probably easier in Europe because you're probably on a bus.
Yeah, that's definitely on the nightliner, you know, in Europe. Yeah, I mean, also in America, we on the nightliner. But I mean, South America, you do it in hotels, you know, in and out. You're living out of your suitcase, you know, like
Yeah.
open it up. Okay, I still have enough clothes with me. And yeah, I mean, but you get used to that, you know. I mean, that's a part of the whole thing, you know. I mean, it's like if you are working in a circus or whatever, you know, you travel also from town to town, you're living in a
Well,
wagon. Yeah, so
you sort of are in a circus, really, aren't you?
yeah, so I mean, yeah, I'm used to that, and of course, not everybody can handle that, you know. I mean, when I'm
Yeah.
talking sometimes with some friends, they say, "Oh, how you do this, you know, living in a bus with 11, 12 people." I said, "Yeah, or in the meanwhile, it's quite comfortable, you know. We have a nice nightliner, everything is fine, but it's not a thing for everybody, you know. They
Hmm.
have to, you know, something like, oh, you're not every night in a hotel? No.
Hmm.
Definitely not in Europe. Okay, in the rest is like South America or like Japan now, Australia, where we, of course, we're staying in a hotel.
Hmm. Well, thanks
Yeah,
so much for your time.
no problem.
Hope you have a great time here in Australia. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it now because our gig was cut and it didn't leave me enough time to go to Melbourne. So
Uh,
I'll have to catch you next time.
Definitely. I mean, I think hopefully we can open the market and do some more shows in Australia, you know, in more cities. Okay,
I,
thank you very much.
I think it'll be a hit. Have a good time here. Look after yourself and take care. And we'll see
Thank
you soon.
you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.